All right, so let's just hit record and see how this goes. And welcome to my show. We're thank you for joining me while I figure out how to record a show and figure out how to operate my equipment. I'm looking at my different screens here and figuring. Oh, don't kick the camera. See, now you can see the garbage can. Okay, there you go. That's better. As I figure out how to put this all together. Um, Now, what were we going to talk about here? We got okay. So let's start with this. And this is going to be a message that I'm going to continue to hammer over and over again. So let's just learn to talk about it. Is that my audience is who I am, and what who I serve is who I'm most able to serve, which is who I know the best, which is people like me. Now, from this perspective, one thing that I can serve that I've spent decades working on, because I had to, because you reach a point where you become sated, or you reach a point of rock bottom where you just can't. You can't continue in the way that you've been continuing. You just won't survive it. There you go, kicking the camera again. And one of those is that I trained myself to be very good at feeling like shit. Feeling like absolute shit. Stressing myself out that I was not good enough. I was not, I was just not good enough. That's simple. And over the decades, though in certain ways that it drives you to improve yourself, very much so. And that's certainly something that sticks with me, is that I've been driven to improve myself continually. As long as I wasn't in paralysis through just beating the, you can only do so much work on yourself while you're constantly whipping yourself, beating yourself. There's only so much work that can be done. But the rest of the time you're spending on improving yourself. So even if I've gotten past the beating myself up, still what sticks with me is the consistent work to improve self. Self as the, individual ego self. The physical self. So what happens is here, and I'm going to skip around a little bit, but what happens is, especially I know that this happens in the morning for a lot of people, is that the first thing you think about is all the things that happen to be causing you stress, and I know a lot of people pick up social media in the morning, or pick up their phones and check all their messages and different things like that, and it reminds them of what was what from the day before, and so they immediately just pick up on all the triggers for the emotions. They create the behaviors that were the day before. We just remind ourselves of what was going on and how to feel and how to behave over and over and over again. Now, I'm going to tell you a simple trick. Use it as you wish. We make, manifesting things in our lives so much more difficult than it really is. We make it this mystical, magical, new agey thing. And it's becoming more commonplace now. We're coming to understand it. But the reality is, we're just trying to describe a process that we already do. And there's better ways to describe it. You know, but I would imagine that such is the way of all things when we come to a new recognition or a new awareness that we were blind to before, new perceptions of things. The ways that we describe it are going to sound mystical and magical, and they're going to be off base. And you can see this when a child comes to recognize something and how they describe it. And as time goes on, they gain a different perspective and a more advantageous perception and mental model of things and way of speaking about them. And I perceive this as the exact same process that we go through culturally as we continue to grow and expand. And so I have a simple process. You have to have brain and heart coherence. We have this internal battle of, there's this idea of Philadelphia, which is brotherly love. Brotherly love was originally intended as, it means the love between the heart and the mind, these aspects of self. Without getting into it, let's just place it as that. Maybe we'll dive deeper into that someday. But there is an eternal struggle we have going on between the heart and the intellect. Ever since, human beings, I guess, developed the prefrontal cortex in order to evolve further, I suppose. That became the next battle. A battle, which is not so much a battle, but a growth opportunity that looks very much like a battle at times. The very simple thing that I do is I have I'm going to say visual, but however your imagination works, whether it works through visuals or feelings or auditory or sense of smell or touch, however your imagination works, you have an image in your mind that is very simple, that both your brain and your heart can agree on. Right? Very, very simple. And you can build on that image over time. An image that is beautiful, that your brain and your heart can agree on, that you can remember to go to simply. Doesn't have to be difficult. You can build on over time. Now, anytime you start to go into a limiting decision or a negative emotion, you catch it at that point. The way you catch it is because you can't handle not catching it anymore. You have to become sated in the fact that you're sick of this. It has to change. You can't do it anymore in the way that you've been doing it. It's called rock bottom, or the point of satiation. You become sated, that you cannot continue in the direction that you've been with your mental processes, with your emotional triggers. And so you have to change. And that's how you end up catching this. You're like, nope, that hurts so much. I can't continue down that path, that I catch it. And what I do with it is now I have this new image of who I am. Now, while I'm remembering that image, I'm also imagining, again, in whatever way you imagine, I'm also imagining the new neurons forming, right? Because I have this Grand Canyon. I've gotten very, very good at feeling shitty. Very, very good at beating myself up. I have this Grand Canyon neural pathway in that direction. As far as I understand it, that doesn't go away. That's just available to me. But it doesn't mean I have to keep sending energy down that wire. I don't have to turn that circuit on just because it exists. Right? I can consciously choose to create the habit of sending the energy to this new neural pathway, which leads to this simple image of who I want to be, of who I choose to be, that my brain and my heart agree upon. And this is called coherence. Now, that's something I think I'm going to focus on continually, because it's quite simple and it's been quite important in my life, from the fact of, like, just the 1%. The idea that, if you just improve 1% every day, if you improve 0.5% every day, just the smallest amount, but you focus on one thing every single day. You work out a little bit every day. You focus on new ways of thinking every day. You read parts of a book every day. Whatever direction that you spend your heart, your energy, and your intent and your focus, in whatever direction that is, when you do that every day, you're going to become better at it. Very, very few things are a matter of like you have this innate talent or not, right? There are very few things that you're not going to be able to become very good at. Now, of course, there's proclivities and natural abilities to a certain extent, but anything you focus in on, you're going to get better at, without a doubt. It's one thing to take notes. It's another to be able to decipher them. But the reality is that, there's so much that each individual has to offer, and we shut ourselves out. And each and every one of us who just will not stand for that anymore. For denying the world themselves. Don't deny the world who you are. Right? I'm talking to you. Now I hear myself on recordings. I got this deviated septum. So if you hear me like whistling through my nose, TMI, but I'll have to get that fixed one day. Yeah, we're going to skip around when I'm first talking, and then we'll start hashing out ideas. It's important that let's talk about the concept of building on yourself versus all right, I had to pause for a second. Like I said, as I continue to do this will get better. And actually, the mistakes and the cringiness of this video, I hope the hope is that they serve as a testament to just getting it done. It doesn't have to be perfect at first, but it will improve over time. And so that is the idea here, that you just get out, you just start doing it. Don't be afraid that you can't. And, I think there's that fear of being a beginner in things. Like I've spent so much time mastering this over here that I can't possibly even dive in over here because I got to be a beginner again, and being a beginner sucks. Well, I think if you truly want to grow in your life and be all that you can be, you always have to be a beginner. You have to be strong enough, you have to be courageous enough to always be a beginner. You have to be humble enough to always be a beginner. Don't walk around like you're some badass that's got it all figured out and you deserve veneration like a fucking king. Okay? Ooh, I hit a soft spot. But I've certainly done that in certain areas, and I've certainly seen other people do that. Lack of humility. So as I'm spending time, and it's I find that I've spent, here I go with this type of proving my worth, but I have spent a lot of time working on visualizations over the years, and I've found that of course we're talking about something that you already do. This isn't something new. This is crafting what you already do. Okay? So you're taking what's happening with your moment to moment internal world and crafting it into what you want so that it creates the external world that you want. And we already have other ways of saying this, just, for instance, that if you have a good attitude and a positive outlook, people can see that. It portrays in your body language, your tone of voice, and just the words that you use and how you come off to people. Versus if you have just a shitty attitude, right? A shitty outlook. Now, of course, that is going to play out in how your life goes. But just talking from an internal frame of reference for now, once you spend time focusing on that simple vision of yourself that your heart and mind agree on, and you begin forging and reinforcing and strengthening the neural pathways in that direction to consistently view yourself that way and sort of shut off the power to the dark. I call it the dark and the light. Shun the darkness, go towards the light. You're reforging those neural pathways. And we have, the ways to look at it from each dimension of existence and perception. You'll find that there can be disturbances in that. And people say that in different ways, and we need to learn to help translate between each other's languaging. But there's disturbances in the field of energy. I find talking about it in that way is the most accurate. Is to describe it is what's going on in your imagination, in your internal perceptions, in your internal world. I like the field. It's the field. And watching and perceiving what's going on with that energy and however you perceive it. Right? Most importantly, through the emotions. What are the emotions doing? No, I say most importantly because that is the determining factor of your quality of life. It's not your logic and reasoning, it's how you feel. Your quality of life is directly determined by how you feel, by your emotional state. Not even physical pain and pleasure. It's your emotional state. Of course. Do you feel fulfilled? Do you feel happy? Now, we can bring ourselves to this state, but can we hold it naturally? As you focus on channeling your energy to this simple vision that your heart and mind hold, you can feel disturbances in the field. Now, how do you want to talk about this? Those disturbances, what are you going to do with those? If something disturbs your group, your pathway, what you're doing, and you have no integrity or strength in what it is you're doing, then outside forces can easily disrupt whatever it is you're working on, and throw you off your game, throw you off kilter. Regardless of what the trick is that's used, whatever the ego uses to throw you off, the intention is to strengthen you over time. That's its job, right? It may or may not know that, but it is the most beloved angel for a reason. Its intention is to strengthen you, to strengthen your resolve, to strengthen your wisdom, to strengthen you spiritually, to allow you a path to evolve spiritually over time. And when I yawn, that means I'm onto something. Or I'm tired. But I tend to think that, when we allow ourselves deeper inquiry, self-inquiry, one protective mechanism is that the body wants to shut down. It goes, oh, no, don't go there. Stop. Hold up. And it wants to put you to sleep. Which is why many of us, including myself, can tend to fall asleep when we meditate. Meditation, since we're skipping around, I find to make that sustainable, I simply zone out consciously as much as I can throughout the day and just listen to what's going on in the universe, to what's going on in my body and in the mind, the creator, in existence, all of existence. I'm listening for. I'm saying, hey, I'm done talking. What do I need to know? What do you want to tell me? I'm listening. And I even shut off the voice that says I'm listening. But I certainly affirm to myself, I'm listening. I'm listening. I'm listening. And then I actually do it. As much as possible. I don't have to be in any specific position, though different positions help energetically, and over time you can feel that. You can feel that these positions help. But anytime you can zone out and connect in that way and just listen, right? Live in gratitude. We hear that a lot. I think gratitude is more the icing on the cake. There are simple... You have to do the work. You have to have the behavior. And you have the behavior by focusing on what you want and making it as simple as possible. No matter what you want in life, there's some sort of pre-planning that you do. Say you're going to the gas station. There's some sort of pre-planning of what gas station, how you're going to get there. The alarm goes off as meaning the low fuel, or it's as low as you want it to be. And then you go, oh, I need to get fuel. And so you start planning where you're at, then what gas station you're going to, and then maybe even going in and seeing the clerk and whatever parts of that you plan out. And then where you're going next after that. Right? What I'm suggesting is that you start to plan in not just doing the chores of life, but you start to plan in being the person that you want and replacing whatever you know as nonsense as far as your personal perception of self, your self-image, your self-view. Start to replace that and then strengthen the neurons in the direction of the light. I don't want to get too esoteric or metaphysical, but that definitely will come out in me in times. But the way I think of it always is shun the darkness. Stay away from the darkness. If it doesn't make you feel good, there's no solving what's down there. You just get trapped in sort of a hell of trying to solve the darkness because you're afraid that if you don't spend your time staring at it, then it's going to blindside you. And it's a red herring. It's a false flag. What actually you're supposed to be paying attention to is the light. And that's what you bring towards you, because whatever you focus on is what you give energy to. And what you give energy to and your focused intent is what grows. And that's the way, that's the way, that's what will come to you because you focus on that and your energy is in that direction and your brain wires itself in that direction. And so, of course, that's what you're going to find more of. If you focus on the darkness, you're going to get more darkness. And you know what I mean by darkness. Shitty feelings, negative emotions, limiting decisions, garbage. Now, focusing on the light doesn't mean you bury your head in the sand to problems. There are going to be things that you need to take care of in life. But what it means is you recognize where you're at with something, but you're focused on where you want to go. Right? You're not focused on the problem, you're focused on the solution. You're focused on what you want. There's always going to be a problem to solve. What do you do with that? Who do you want to be in the face of challenges? All right, how are we doing over here? So the disturbances is, we focus our energy towards creating those pathways in the direction we want to go. To becoming that. I like how Matthew McConaughey said it. It was part of a whole acceptance speech of some sort. He talked about his hero, and his hero is the person that it is him 10 years from now. I like that. Because it's the person he continually strives to be. And the point is I would say, make your image much simpler than that, especially at first, but watch for the disturbances in the way you push your energy out. Watch for them. because they're tricks. They are the obstacle. That is the devil whispering in your ear. That is the it is to throw you off course in order for you to become stronger. All the nonsense. And the closer you get, the louder the nonsense will become. Which is encouraging because the nonsense is getting very loud culturally with all the garbage going on. And I mean, perhaps it's just the way it's being reported, but perhaps not. The people that we allow to lead our country are in need of refocusing their values. Let's put it that way. It's not, there's no, there's not an us versus them mentality. There is this is what we have created. We are consciousness itself. We are life itself in Lakesh. I am another you. You are another me. We have created where we are. And the universe itself, and when we say universe, generally we're talking from a physical plane. So existence itself in all its dimensions consistently works to evolve from what we can tell. And so do you. I mean, from a scientific, the scientific word for how you define the word evolve is not, there's no personal evolution, but I would say for the sake of our argument here, there's personal evolution. And we continually seek to evolve and adapt. There's a concept I like. In order to provide good service, a concept in business and entrepreneurship and providing value to the world, in order to have a successful business, the first, really, the major thing you want to focus on is delighting your customers. Just continually improving on customer experience, and just and really focusing in on that. And I think the best way to do that is, that's not mutually exclusive with delighting yourself. They are one and the same. Delighting your customers and delighting yourself in doing so and being in service. I think is a good way to go about things. And I can't remember where I was going with that. Well, we spend a lot of our lives in this, maybe our whole life, in this duality, in polarity. When there's always this third option, which is the option of, immediately I think of Gandalf the White. Gandalf the Grey to Gandalf the White. But, there's a third option where we accept the shadow within and the light, and that this is how we expand off, and we have to expand through the darkness in order to expand into the light. So you have to accept your shadow self if you want more light. Where are we going with this, Eric? All right, so if we're going to incorporate nature into this, let's incorporate some nature. This was back at Ozone Falls. Here I'm just trying to practice figuring out what the hell I'm doing with the video camera and the nature. You know, because I got this general idea. Oh, well, okay, so all this stuff I've been studying about mindset and spirit and health over the years, somehow I'm going to incorporate this with what I do over here, which is just boatloads of nature photography over the decades. So this is me figuring that out. So let's, here.
Hi, I'm Eric. Are you ready for some universal wisdom in bite-sized chunks?
Sure, buddy. Yes, I am. I'm ready. That sounds nice. So I did this, I don't know how many times. Multiple takes. Oh, this one's sideways.
And so my job is to take you to these wonderful, beautiful places.
Yeah.
Just because they're so wonderful and beautiful.
This is me figuring it out.
And
but that really was a beautiful place. Ozone Falls. I definitely in Tennessee, Rockwood, well, it's in Tennessee. You'll find it.
Drop nuggets of wisdom as to what you need to know to be that leader. All I do is study, and I give that information to you.
This photo is not in my library. Okay. Oh, I just wanted to flip it over. Okay, I'm done. What else we got here?
We need that wisdom. We need the smarts. What was it that Tony Robbins said something to the effect of, the people who are successful are the ones who learn the right knowledge about how to be successful.
Okay. Okay, keep thinking that one through. Let's see, what else we got? All right, so we're continuing on our tour of Ozone Falls. You are a powerful creator. You've just forgotten. That is a really important point that I'll find myself promoting over and over again as well. This is, I love this, how they, you know, to some extent that's natural, but they really, people get in here and they help accentuate the path by collecting stones and creating these steps in a natural way. It's not, they didn't come in and pour concrete or something. They just used the existing rock from the area. It's just I don't know. That's the greatest thing in the world. I love that. Just beautiful, beautiful scenery. But you are a powerful creator, and you can view that however you want. But you come up with things in your mind and you create them in the world. But we train ourselves, and it's perpetuated the idea that we're victims. We are at the effect of some outside cause other than ourselves. And that's purposeful, obviously. If you've ever been in charge of something else, you can see how that's an easy way. If you are an unscrupulous character, that is an easy way in order to gain control. As you lead people in the direction of being powerless without you. You hoard, either through perception or doing so by some other means. You sort of hoard the ability to take care of others. Like, so you make it so that they can't take care of themselves. Either in reality or through just perception. But the real reality is you are a powerful creator. In the same way an elephant can be tied to a stake when it's a baby, and as a baby it can't pull itself out, but as a huge elephant, when it's full grown,
Bring a flashlight with me.
yeah, you could easily pull out the stake. The elephant could easily pull out the stake. But it doesn't realize that because it's been trained since it was very, very small to view itself as weak, that it can't pull out a simple stake out of the ground, right? We've all heard that one before. But you have to do, and that's fine. The perception is fine. If you're fine with being stuck in a lonely, victimized state, and you feel that you have to protect yourself, oh, whoa, listen to this guy Eric saying that I'm not a victim anymore. But I'm a victim because of this. I tell you, you're selling yourself a false bill of goods. You're letting others sell you a false bill of goods. Stop it. Stop it. We can all find ways to feel victimized. To disempower ourselves, which is one and the same. And just be done with that. Be done with it. And be a voice. And if you believe that that's correct, then promote in that direction. Stop speaking like a victim. Catch yourself when you speak like a victim. Be done with that. The structure of how you get there. Let's speak about that over time. Not so much the contents. The contents serve as anecdotal evidence or anecdotal examples. But it's more the context that we can all share, the structure of magic, as it were. How do we create the change, the everlasting change that we wish to see in ourselves and the world? Well, if you want to see change in the world, you have to change yourself. Complaining about it isn't going to help. The ones that you complain about, they are you, but you're just deceiving yourself into believing that they're not, that it's somebody else, and thereby giving away your own power. So I'm speaking to you, the one that knows you have it in yourself. that feels that the magic deep within, but you're bombarded by the deception, which causes the disbelief and the doubt in yourself, in the magic that you feel and know to be the truth about reality and existence itself. And I implore you to keep working in that direction, shunning out the darkness and moving towards the light. That is why I'm here. That's what this whole thing is about. To help each other. Right? I'm not saying I got everything figured out, do it my way, here's the blah, 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 blah. I'm not trying to be like that. I'm saying that if we're going to be honest with each other, then we all have something to offer. And I promote you in finding what it is you have to offer within yourself, stripping away the garbage of that you've put on yourself, trying to improve yourself, and finding that innate essence that is the truth about who you truly are. That beautiful being deep within that maybe you've covered over, that you've been taught to be ashamed of, to fear, to feel that it is in lack. That is what my voice and whatever I'm doing and however this turns out, that's what we're doing here. I'm promoting you and becoming you. Hey there, buddy. That's some nice hair. What do you got to say? Whoa, what was that? That was something falling apart. Anyway.
Who am I? My name is Eric Ross. I travel and I study a lot.
Good job, buddy.
And my job is to take you to these beautiful places that I find.
Okay, nice. Oh, your hair looks good.
The wonderful bits of knowledge that I uncover, so that you can become the fulfilled leader that you were meant to be.
Yeah, that's pretty close.
See,
yeah, I mean, we're coming up with the mission statement over time, but it is where the reason I'm here is to promote you in becoming who you are. Not to tell you I have the answers for you, is the answers lie within you. The answers lie within you. You just got to believe it, and you got to start following it, and you have to start incrementally doing the things that you know that you need to do. And you start doing that by just having a simple vision. Well, we'll discover how to help you discover within yourself over time how to do that. But I would suggest trying this. Try this, and maybe I'll put a form up and search for feedback soon, or comment, etc. Yeah, put it in the comments. That's how we do it nowadays. So, a simple image of yourself, however your imagination works, it doesn't have to be visual. A simple image of what you want for yourself that both your brain and your heart are in agreement about. It's very, very simple. And when the emotions and the decisions get negative and dark, catch yourself and focus on that light vision of self and strengthen the neurons in that direction. Strengthen your self-image, the neurons to go in that direction of having that self-image. Right? Keep sending the electricity, keep sending the juice down that mental pathway towards where you want. You have to train yourself that if you've trained this Grand Canyon neuron towards feeling like shit, towards going to the darkness, you're going to there's going to be work involved in and creating new neurons and creating the habit of having the brain automatically rewire in that direction and send the juice down that direction towards the light. There are all sorts of ways to look at this that are just beneficial. You know, I gotta stop kicking the camera or put it on a stand so it doesn't. Oh, see, now I can see the garbage can. Right there. All right. So the more of us that focus on, again, not burying your head in the sand, not being oblivious, I'm not saying that at all. It's not being Pollyanna versus being in the know about the garbage in the world. There's always going to be negative bullshit. I'm saying, where are we putting our energy? I'm not saying be oblivious. Not the same thing. Not by a long shot. That's another trick of the trade of, God, I'm going to start using religious terms, but trick of the trade of the devil, trick of the trade of the darkness, trick of the trade of the ego, the negative emotions and the limiting decisions, the whatever's whispering in your ear, whatever you want to call it, whatever your modern sensibilities allow. It's a trick of the trade. Right? Stay focused on the light. Translate that for yourself. Shun the darkness. It's unsolvable. You already know what the issues are, right? What is it? Your amygdala sort of warns you of the immediate dangers, and then your hippocampus sort of reminds you of things that you want to stay away from, you know, based on history. Am I getting that right? I'm going to have to look that all up again. You know, there are sometimes when I have these little knowledge details all memorized, and then if you don't look at it for a while, it just sort of floats by the wayside. But you still, even if you can't remember the details of things like that and the definitions, like you're not going to get an A on the test if you took it right this minute. You still build a mental construct that either works in a way that is beneficial for the world, for yourself, for your family, for your friends, in each area of your life, or you build a mental model in a direction that is garbage, that creates garbage for you. But show me your life and I'll show you what the mental model is. I'll show you what the perception is inside. But then whatever direction we're going in, you know, like the idea that the rich keep getting richer, is because it feeds back on itself, right? It's like proof. You have a self-image that creates an external reality. The external reality proves that the internal reality, the internal image is correct, which reinforces it, which creates grander effects on the outside. So this is why that 1% improvement every day model also works. It's another angle to it, is that, you know, just keep moving in that direction, and you perceive yourself as more and more in the direction that you're looking to go. And start by holding that simple image, just something, you know, whatever works for you. Whatever works for you. I can tell you I won't tell you much about my own. It's a personal thing. I'm not leaving it up to be scrutinized, but it's it is just it's my personification of love and light in my life and for myself and from myself. Love and light and kindness. These are the major things that my heart and my mind can agree on. And abundance in generally speaking terms. Just all the good things. That's another one. The what is it? The rich man cannot enter the gates of heaven. Will never enter the gates of heaven. Well, that's when you have that's when you have greed and money in your heart. Is what that means. It means when you worship cash, doesn't mean having cash in your pocket. Cash in your pocket is power for those who is a means of energy and exchange for those who mean well. For anyone, really, don't buy into that shit. Don't think that it have to be spiritual. You have to be poor. That's nonsense. Just keep love in your heart. Right? That feels right. Not greed. At all cost. A couple other just reminders. These don't have to be just reminders. Surround yourself with people better than you. Well, for a number of reasons. If you're surrounding yourself with people that you feel that you need to improve, then, you are there's a million ways to say this. None of them are coming to me. You are the summation or the average of the 5 people you hang out with most or you're closest to. If you're with people that are better than you, then you are naturally going to move in the direction of those people. You will move in the direction of the people that you're around the most. Right? Life gets better if you do better yourself. Be generally interested in people's well-being. We get so self-serving because we get into this protective. We're in a constant state of protecting ourselves. We can see it with nonsense like the masks. And who we turn into when we feel threatened. Well, guess what? We perpetually feel threatened. And that's the point, isn't it? That's what we do to ourselves. That's what we have chosen. There's no us versus them. Forget all that. If you want to perpetuate that, then keep doing us versus them. You can be the good guy and they can be the bad guy, and you can keep doing that for infinity. Well, I'm going to tell you what, that will continue to exist for infinity. That duality is part of this existence. However, if you want to transcend that, which we have that ability, then you pick the third option. The third option is that you recognize that this is consciousness itself. There is no us versus them in this. We have created this. We are the consciousness which created this. We are life itself. That is how it's transcended. No more, you're the good guy, you're the bad guy, I'm the good guy. That's all bullshit. It's not, it was necessary. Obviously, we put ourselves through that. We, consciousness itself. Well, you come to that point where it's like, wait a minute, this experiment is not going to survive if we continue down this path. So we change or we die. I've been there in my individual life. You change or you die. You won't survive. You adapt and overcome. The adaptation in this point is to perceive ourselves from a different viewpoint. Perceive ourselves different. I keep talking about the image where the brain and the heart can agree on. It's called heart. That's called brain and heart coherence. And what I'll dive into deeper. We'll dive into deeper is that you want them tuned onto the same frequency. You want them beating as one. If you're in conflict within yourself, you're not in coherence. Your mind and your heart are not in coherence with each other. So we're gonna start forming simple practices. I'll suggest simple practices rather, in order to promote that idea. These are, we've made these sort of complex ways of describing very simple processes with regard to how to create the life that you want. So we need to, it's like getting married. You need to bring a dash of the old, a dash of the new, something old, something borrowed, something blue. Put it all in the pot, stir it up, and move forward. But the conflict can't last. Yeah, the conflict will end in multidimensional bloodshed. We have to transcend. The words we say have a lasting vibration. The thoughts as well, the emotions as well. That's why it's so important to, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. That is everything, right? At different dimensional levels, at different planes of existence. And just thinking in those simple terms, energy, frequency, vibration. You've heard that before, right? If you haven't heard that before, Tesla said, and this is a quote, something that's talked about all the time. If you want to understand the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Your thoughts, your emotions, your actions, your words, all of these are energy vibrating at a certain frequency. And so is all of this matter. And so are the people in your lives, and the events and the circumstances, all of these things. And words are like speaking spells into existence. Yeah. Thank you for hanging out with me while I figure out how to make this an engaging show. Hopefully my terms and the words that I use and the way I go about things is works for your modern sensibilities. If not, you know that is good hair. I love that. Oh, yep. Look at that. What are you trying to say here?
Who am I? My name is Eric Ross.
Yep. I didn't like that one, I guess.
Who am I? Who am I? My name is Eric Ross, and I study and I travel a lot. And my job
A lot.
is to take you to these beautiful places that I discover.
Almost. Look at my face right there. Not so much. All right, let's try again. Let's see what we get.
And my job is to take you to these beautiful places that I discover
Mm-hmm.
and share with you the wonderful knowledge that I uncover. See what I
Ooh,
did there?
yeah, I see.
So
That's
that you
nice.
can become to assist you in becoming the beautiful leader.
Okay, where are you going with this?
To assist you in becoming.
Uh-huh. Let's see if I eventually spit it out. Let's see.
To assist you in becoming who you were meant to be.
Right.
The fulfilled, abundant leader this world needs.
Yes, that is true. Yes, exactly. Exactly. We need to support each other in becoming those fulfilled, abundant leaders. No more hiding in the darkness, waiting for somebody to save you. Whether it's a pill or a law or a check from the government, stop it. Stop it. Get your head straight, right? That's what I got, all these notes, and I get your head straight. Well, as I get more organized with these ideas, I'll break it down over time. I actually had a note to remind myself to say that. So, but hopefully there's some value in this for you. We're starting to develop, and I'm starting to understand who I'm talking to a little bit better. Really, is the people like me. And people who wish to improve themselves, who have had enough with, we're not gonna, we're done with a shitty internal state, right? Because we can see, it's at the point where we can see very clearly. Nobody has to tell me that my internal state is definitely reflected outside of me. There's a number of ways we can say that and talk about that. And it's more than that. It's the internal struggle that happens that is such there's no lack of working your way, of trying to work your way past it. It's just so tricky and deceptive that it really just takes time to get through. It takes time to get through. And as we each push through that to the next level, it's important and it's our duty to support each other in doing so. And then we all get to the next level together, and we all level up together, right? We need some gamification sounds that release dopamine, but just leveling up within yourself, and the light. When you come to new areas of realization within yourself, the light changes. Have you had that experience? The light changes and things sound different. It's almost like you're in the Snow White movie and the birds are singing and everything changes. The clouds open up. The angels begin to sing. When you come into those new levels of awareness progressively, that's where I wish to be all the time. And I move towards improving that 1% every day. So hopefully I provided some value for you today. We'll keep on keeping on to make this a better show for you and support you in that work that you do within yourself. And thank you very much. I'll lead you out with a couple clips.
Check that out.